Hey everybody, it's Mike Gable with Pontoon Hydrofoil Applications, and we're actually here with another customer in Merlin. It's third week of June. It's getting warm up here. We came up to see how the customer was doing and see how his dial in. And Nick, maybe you can introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about the boat, the motor, and what kind of setup you have here, if you would.
Got a 2007 Manitou 24-foot. Or 25 foot. Got 2007 Emerald E-Tech 250. Put the VARA Foil on approximately 3 years ago. Did a little time to install to fine tune it, and finally got around to do some testing on it. And after a couple times out, we've gotten pretty dialed in. Very happy with the results of it. Very easy installation. We've done did some adjustments today, middle of June, hot day. We jumped down in the water. It took us a couple minutes, changed a couple angles on it, and see some results. And boat's running great, it's riding great, riding on the foil like it's supposed to, and I think if not being dialed in, it's really close to being dialed in.
Yeah, that's a good point. So when you say riding on the foil, maybe that's a good point. You can tell people that may be interested in getting a VARA foil. Like, what was the difference that you noticed from the normal Tritoon Manitou that you had with the 250 to now having a foil underneath the boat that you can say lean on, or whatever your words may be? Like, what was the biggest difference that you saw going to the hydrofoil?
The quality of ride increased drastically. Top speed increased. Less strain on the motor. Being less strain, I'm definitely burning less fuel. It was pretty cut and dry. I mean, kind of all the way around. It was the whole kit and caboodle. Was the way it was performing was amazing.
That's good. That's good words. So like, you did your install on the Tritoon, you did your install on the trailer, or did you end up lifting the boat up and doing the install that way? And by the way, Nick used box bolts for his install because he's got underskinning under there. I'm going to kind of walk forward as I ask him questions. But Nick, like, you did your install as it was on the trailer, and did your angles and everything there, or did you go ahead and lift the boat up and put it on barrels or do anything like that?
No, we did the install right on the trailer, off the ground.
Okay.
Was not hateful at all. It was today when we did the adjustments, when we were in the water, when we weren't leaning over to do the install, making the adjustments were very, very easy. I mean, it was effortless.
Yeah, what's Nick's talking about, as you can see, he's got a power pole setup, which is really nice over here. So we went into about 3.5 to 4 feet of water where your head is just underneath the boat. You know, so we're not having to lean over. And as you can see, when you're able to do adjustments from that position, you know, you don't get any back pain. Plus you're in nice water. It keeps you cool, and you're in the shade, so you're not sweating. But it was just a nice way to do it. And I actually had inputted to Nick that some installs are actually done in the water that same way. They go to where there's not a lot of waves, and they'll do the installs in the water with obviously not electric drills, but they'll use battery operated drills for safety purposes, right?
Sure.
So Nick, you know, one thing I noticed when we were out today, and you may have seen this or not, is we had discussed this, your strake angles. Like, your strakes are angled. They're not a strake that is at 90 degrees, or I should say horizontal to the water. What I noticed when we were riding, and Nick, I mean, tell us what your thoughts on it. I could kind of feel the boat release from the strakes because they're not at a horizontal position. In other words, as the boat rose up, you could feel less resistance because it was getting less resistance as the water line rose lower on the boat, right?
Yes, you could, as we were riding, we started adjusting the trim, and when we got to where the hydrofoil water was going over the hydrofoil, giving the boat some lift, it, I don't know how you want to say it, kind of unstuck the lifting strakes from the water, and as soon as they were, the boat actually lifted up even more, picked up more speed, freed up some more power in the motor. RPMs went up a little bit more, top speed went up a little bit, but you could definitely feel once the water contact was broken.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could say you could feel. You used a word in there that you could definitely feel it just wanting to just go. You know, it was just releasing, I think was the word you used.
Yes.
So I think that's a very, very, very good word. And also, Nick, you mean you talk about maybe to people that don't understand, like the trim tilt. You're able to use that plate on the engine, which is known as a VARA plate, through the trim tilt, and that adjusts. What's that do for you? You know, so if
it adjusts the angle of the ride of the boat, gets a little bit more of the boat out of the water, which is essentially drag in the water, putting more of the pressure on the VARA foil itself. Then the VARA foil is doing its job of wanting to lift the rear and the stern of the boat up to have more or less of the boat riding in the water as well.
Yep, very good point, very good point. And you're able to do that, your control of that is with the trim tilt. So were your movements on the trim tilt button, were they like old style movements where you hold the button, or were they more like just bump, bump, bump up, or bump, bump, bump down, whatever you needed?
Very, very minimal movements. Just bump up, bump down a couple times, and you could get a feel for it pretty quick of the trim changes that were made just by bumping the switch.
Yeah, and I would let the bow come up or the bow go down, whatever you needed, right?
Yep.
Today we didn't have people walking around on the boat. It was just Nick and I, because we were out doing some testing. We just wanted to make sure that Nick had this thing dialed in, and I got to tell you, you know, a lot of our customers do a very, very good job. Some of our customers have a little bit more difficulty just understanding the theory behind the hydrofoil and what we call a three-legged chair. But Nick had this thing dialed in. We only moved it one hole, and we're not even sure we're going to stay there. Nick's going to try it for a little while. He started out at a 3-degree angle of pitch, was it?
Yep.
And so now we're at a 2-degree angle of pitch, which allowed his motor to go from, I think you were, what were your RPMs with the 3?
About 5,400 RPM to 5,600 RPM.
With the change of 1 degree
Just 1 degree
of angle of attack. And probably something good to point out here, Nick, if you can just explain the prop that you were running when you had this prop that you have now is let's see what make model it is. It's a Rebel, but it's a can you tell the crowd what it is?
It's a 15.5-inch diameter by 19 inches of pitch. Initially I was running a 14.5-inch diameter at 17 inches of pitch.
And so that was initially before the foil, right?
Before the hydrofoil.
Okay. So Nick's able to run, you know, more diameter and more pitch from all that, and you guys can do the math on everything to see exactly what we can do. So, Nick, is there anything else that maybe we haven't touched on that you would put as a pro or a con? Because, you know, as we want real data from all of our testimonials out there. I mean, like, is there anything you can say for the pro side of going to
just go in with an open mind. It's not one thing you're gonna set it and forget it. It's a little fine tuning, but once it's fine tuned, it's performing amazing.
Great point. Great point. And then what about for the cons of it? Because let's face it, with the Tritoon, you are on a trailer ability, and I'm not saying this is going to be your con. I'm just saying that one of the cons is we have to cut a window in between the center bunks, okay, for the foil to go across. And So maybe you can talk about that a little bit and just tell the people that, you know, was that hard to do? Is it easy?
Very easy to do. Not really a con by any means. It's just a spot for the foil to sit when you're trailering it, so it's not riding on the foil, sitting on one of the bunks going down the road. And
bending it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so once it's in its slot, its window, which I'll try and show you while we can real quick of what Nick did, is the side bunks don't need any window in them at all, but if you can see the middle bunk there, Nick has cut it out about 9 inches in front of where the foil's at, and then he's also cut it out, if I go back here maybe you can see it, he's cut it out probably about, I'd say 18 to 24 inches in back of it. And really, Nick and I didn't talk about this, but Nick could probably cut another foot of that off because the support is pretty far back. So he might be able to cut like 8 more inches off, and that would give him more of a, instead of float on, you know, having to put his car in as far as he does on a shallow ramp, it would affect that, and he wouldn't have to put the car in to let the foil sit down in the window. Well, Nick, listen, I want to say thank you to you. Let me ask you one more question. Anything else you want to say?
No, not really. It's just VARA Foil it's performed more than the results of it, or more than I was expecting. I can tell you that.
Well, we thank you for that. And just lastly, have you been paid in any way, shape, or form for this interview or this testimonial?
No, I have not.
Okay, that's good. That's what we like to hear, true data from all our customers. And if anybody's out there who watches this has any questions, please give us a call, or we can point you towards Nick if it's okay with him. But I would have to do that through a text, and he'd have to say okay, and that would be it. But we got Nick's now part of our VARA life, and we appreciate having him. And thanks for the ride today, Nick. It really was a fun time. So thank you very much. All right.